So once we figured out our map, populated our calendar in Google Calendars, now we want to pull up our FNOL prior to calling the insured. So let me see where's the favorite one that I like to select, because for this particular client, it didn't allow me to populate this information. So it allows this information to be available for training. So once I click on this claim, Jennifer Thomas here, once you receive a claim, there's going to be a little box here in red that says you have received a claim. Do you want to accept this claim? Right? Once you click on accept that claim, you would have paid for that claim. Remember, $15 per claim, up to $180
I got you.
for stability. So
Okay.
accept that claim, which is you're accepting responsibility to pay for that claim at the end of the month, and you're accepting responsibility of that claim to work that claim. Now, not every claim you receive that you have to accept. I mean, you actually have the option of not accepting that claim for whatever reason, whether it is that you have to leave or you have an emergency, you do have an option to reject claims. A lot of IA firms do not recommend that you reject it in the software. They would suggest that you give them a call, and so that they could just remove that claim as opposed to you rejecting that claim. You guys follow me?
Yeah.
So if for whatever reason you can't work that claim, don't straight out reject it here. Just call the IA firm and ask them to resend it, take it back. That way it doesn't look bad on you as an adjuster. You guys follow me?
Yeah.
Once we have accepted that claim, in our timeline, very first tab here is going to be a list of every activity that has taken place on this claim, the entire history of this claim. You just scroll down. Every time someone went in there and put in a note, it'll be listed here in the timeline. Okay? We're going to come back here to new entry after we talk about every one of these tabs. We're going to come back to this new entries portion. The next tab we're going to look at is our loss summary. If there is not an FNOL document in here, you'll be able to still find the information of that FNOL document in the loss summary. All right, the first tab is general information, claim information, insured information, and then the adjuster information. The next one is going to be the actual report. The same information that you would see on the FNOL, you're going to find it here. And if you have any additional instructions that the IA insurance carrier wants to pass down to the insurance adjuster, you're going to find it here if you have specific instructions. Okay? This is very important for you to take a look at. Once you open a claim, you go into the loss summary, open up the reports. There very well may be some special instructions for you to know ahead of time prior to you going out to that inspection. It could be insured had a previous claim. All right, they had a previous wind claim 3 months ago, and they got paid for it. They want to make sure that you're aware of that and ask you to pay attention to certain things at that home. On the policy, you're going to find your policy coverages for that claim. Okay. Assignments. This is where you're going to populate your first contact. It's under assignments. It's kind of, in my opinion, mislabeled. You know what I'm saying? Because when I hear assignments, I don't think of populating in first contact. But once you have accumulated all the information that you need, enough for you to make that first phone call, you make that first phone call, and then you come over here in assignment, and you're going to hit insured contacted. You guys, in Symbility, in Mobile Claims Connect, you have the option of populating your insured contacted inside Mobile Claims Connect. I do not encourage you guys to use that function inside Mobile Claims Connect, because that's going to require you to have an internet connection at all times, and it's going to require you to for Mobile Claims Connect to communicate with Symbility, for mobile claims to communicate with Claims Connect. it has to have an internet connection. So if you populate insured contacted in your mobile claims connect claims and you don't have an internet connection and you do not hit synchronize your claim, it never tells the carrier that you made contact. So there's going to be times where you're going to go out and work a claim and there is no internet in the area that you're working. So you're out there making contact, scheduling your inspections, and you're populating it in mobile claims. But because you didn't take the other two steps, make sure you have internet connection, and then you synchronize your claim, it never goes back to Claims Connect and communicates to the carrier that you made first contact. So I always encourage adjusters, make your first contacted notes and populate all your timestamps in Claims Connect because it happens real time. Follow me? So once you hit that button, it's done. You don't have to worry about internet connection or synchronizing. It's done. It's a done deal.
So you're saying right here, go ahead and click that button once you've contacted them.
That's correct. You're gonna do insured contacted. Okay? And you're gonna do it in Claims Connect. You might want to write that down. Populate your timestamps in Claims Connect in the web browser. Okay? In the web browser. That's very important that you do it in your web browser. That way, once you hit that button, it is done and populated. I will show you in mobile claims where you can do this very same thing, but I don't encourage you to use it in mobile claims. But I'll show you where it's at so that you can at least know where it's at, where that option is at.
And this is
Okay?
time. This is in time. No assignments.
Assignments. This is an assignments. So this timestamp is going to be real time. So it's just going to have the date and time that you hit that button, and then you're going to select update. Once you select update, you see this box here that says inspection schedule.
Mhm.
That's going to move over and take the place of insured contacted because once you contacted it, it's going to the next step. And so once you've inspected, once you've confirmed the inspection date and time with the insured, you want to go ahead and you want to click inspection schedule. Okay. And then you want to put in the time that you scheduled the date that you scheduled the inspection and the time, and then you're going to hit update. And then you're going to hit update, and it's going to populate that date and time that you scheduled. Okay. Now, remember, in addition to making first contact and then scheduling your inspection, you have to input some notes, right? About your conversations with that insured. You guys remember that template? Um, who you spoke with, the date and time that you scheduled the inspection. You ask them questions regarding the loss. Are there damaged trees? Any damaged fences? What's the lien holder? Confirm who the lien holder is on the property. All right. And if there's any other pertinent information that you discuss with the insured or they tell you, you want to make sure that you input that in your first contact notes or inspection schedule notes. And the way we do that is we go over to the timeline tab and we're going to select timeline. And that's where we're going to populate our new entry into the timeline. We're going to populate our new entry and we're going to input our inspection notes. So I'm just going to put a sample one here so you see what that looks like on the screen. So for this inspection, I'm going to put, this will be my inspection note. I spoke with such and such insured. We were able to schedule an inspection of the lost property for, I'll input the time, the date between the times of so and so. The roof is a shingle roof that is so many years old. There is or there is no interior damage reported by the insured. The insured has confirmed the lien holder or that there is no lien holder on the lost property. So that's an example of the first contact note that I want to put in with that entry. Okay. And down below, you're going to select the necessary people that need to be notified that you made contact. You're going to have names that are defaulted to be notified. All right. So you typically don't have to check anybody in this box. But if there's an additional person that you want to be specifically notified, you want to go ahead and put their email in this box down below. Okay. You want to go ahead and put this email in the box down below. Notify these email addresses of this activity. And this would apply for any note that you want to add to the file. Okay. This would apply to any note you want to add to the file, that if you want somebody specifically notified, you put their email address in the bottom, and then you're going to select add. I'm going to delete this one because this claim has been closed. All right, and I'm just going to cancel that. So once we have populated our inspection scheduled notes or our first contact notes, and we have set the inspection, we go out to inspect the property. Typically, before I leave that property, I want to go back into Claims Connect, just like I would go back into Exact Analysis, and I want to populate my inspection notes. So I'm going to go back into Assignments. Okay, I'm going to open up my computer, go back to the web browser. Now, after I've done the insured contacted, remember this box switches over, and then another box populates right here on the right that says inspection completed. Okay, I don't want to populate this because this claim is already closed. I don't want to create an activity that other people have to be notified about. So you're going to have inspection completed. It's going to move over here. And once you select inspection completed, opens up, populate the date and time that you completed that inspection. And then you go over into your notes and you populate your inspection completed notes. Now, I would encourage you to make it a habit that when you populate this inspection completed note, create a professional narrative of what your inspection was. Okay, what do I mean by that? You want to create your inspection completed note so that you can use that same narrative in your closing narrative form of that inspection, which is going to be your general loss report or your final loss report. So, say that again. You had a question?
I just said GLR.
That's correct. That's correct. So here's a sample of how I would want to complete the inspection. Right? Let's say I use the inspection completed. So you see how long that is? All right, that can serve that's literally a GLR all by itself. All right, name of the insured, representation, mortgage, loss location, claim number, and so on and so forth. So I have that populated in my Spartan that all I did was click it and I just edit the information in. So once I go to finalize that claim, I literally have my GLR already written up, right?
Mhm.
So I just go and copy and paste that GLR onto the template. And we'll talk about that tomorrow at the end of everything, how to complete a final report for a claim. So once I populated my inspection completed, I go ahead and hit the add. Now I would have properly annotated that claim that I've completed the inspection. Now the only thing that's left now is for me to write my estimate, label my photos, and create my GLR, and that claim will be completed. So these are all the actions that takes place in Claims Connect on the web browser version of your Symbility. Okay, so Claims Connect is where you're gonna complete your claim, write your narrative, populate your first contacts, inspection scheduled, and inspection completed. I highly encourage you guys to do it in Claims Connect. You can do all of these functions in mobile claims, But remember why I discourage you to do it in mobile claims. Because you're going to have internet connection, and you're going to have to remember to synchronize that claim, or else none of these activities have taken place. All right, you can have a fully completed claim in Mobile Claims Connect. All right, and think that you submitted it for review, but it haven't gone anywhere if you didn't have a internet connection and if you don't hit synchronize. Okay? Any questions so far in Claims Connect?
Can you go back to assignments real quick?
Okay, let's go to assignments. Yep, here we go.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
You good? All right. So it has here like a virtual timeline as well. You know what I'm saying? Of this claim. And this section here is for today. If I did anything, my activity will populate right there in that timeline. So I love the system. Stability system, in my opinion, is pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't think anything will ever trump Exactimate, but stability is on its way. And I don't know if you guys been noticing on online social media, you have other companies that are switching
Hmm.
100% to Symbility, no longer using Exactimate.
Oh, wow.
All right, so we got to get on board.